What is going on, you guys? It is I, Dollar Cost Crypto, here with cultivatecrypto.com. What's going on, baby?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is going on? Yeah, it's another round of the clock, right? Like we've just been streaming.
Yeah, dude, streaming. Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties with the Crypto Oasis show, so we're rescheduling the Crypto Oasis show right now with Donovan Sharp. So we are going to have that on, but so
yeah, and then right after this, we're going on to Rough Stuff TV with Jesse from the
yes,
Moon
sir.
Yeah,
man.
It'll be fun. Like, I got his Twitch. I can throw it in the channel for everybody.
Yeah, please.
And yeah, it looks like he's playing StarCraft right now. So yeah,
he's a Terran player. That's why the only reason I agreed to this is because he's a Terran player, and I have pity for him as a Terran player.
There we go. If you guys want to go subscribe to him on Twitch, I think there's the search for his channel. But yeah, no, we're having a good time jumping on the streams. Yeah, it's good to kind of see the moon gang expanding,
Right.
see, the red pill, continue to embrace crypto, even when prices are down. So, that's really the power of, getting into cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
in 2022, right? Is just like, we've been talking about this a lot, just the asymmetrical returns, even, if we just go to previous all-time highs, which the one thing in 2019, right, was there was doubt that Bitcoin would ever get above $20,000 ever again,
Yeah.
which I was just like, y'all are crazy. Like, just ridiculous.
We believed, but
Not only believed, but we understood and we knew, right? And like at that point, it was just one of those things where it's like, it's definitely going to happen. And then there's going to be, I already heard this from like CNBC a couple times, like people saying like, well, we might never go over 70K again, or might take till 2026 or some whatever bullshit they're spewing, right? And it's just like, bros, like it's going to come around the corner sooner than you think. So accumulate.
No, but they crack me up. I mean, it's just a FUD campaign. I mean, there's a FUD campaign to make you sell your, basically what they want, right? This is the future. This is the future plan, right? Is now I did plan on this. This is so I'm going to go into extreme more detail in terms of when we get into the courses and stuff of like what I think really the master plan is going on right now in terms of the global macro, like kind of digital landscape, as well as like what's going on in the rest of the world. But basically, they're trying to turn us back into serfs.
Yep.
Now,
and more of them, right?
Right. So, I mean, obviously, like a mortgage is really just a bank product for the most part and stuff. It is good though because eventually you do own your house after 30 years. 30 years, but
just after a little bit.
And then from there, when you own your house, you're still paying taxes to the government. Do you really own it if you stop paying taxes?
What are they going to do?
We can get into some crazy stuff. You own a Bitcoin, it's yours. You own an Ethereum, it's yours. You own some Hex, it's yours. You own whatever cryptocurrency. There isn't like a tax for holding your crypto. You know what I mean? If you don't sell it, it's yours. So this is why like, ownership is something I always preach and stuff. It's what I always say about like when it comes to businesses or it comes to, owning, you want to own assets. If you own assets, you can get rich. That's why like it's so powerful, like a partnership. Even though we're in the red pill space, if you actually do have a good significant other and stuff, and it's a good partnership, business partnership or whatever it is, it's a net benefit in your life because that's you have ownership over something. It's a partnership and stuff. So basically, what's been going on in the world is that if you look back in history, basically everybody, even Europeans, Africa, I mean, you go anywhere, Asia, Africa, anywhere, basically it was a couple kings or a couple dukes essentially controlling everything. And then everyone else was essentially slaves for the most part. Obviously, they're like, you could be skilled
levels of.
Yeah, there's levels. I mean, like there's true slaves, and then there's actually like what we call like non-land owning serfs, basically, then farmers, and then merchant class and stuff like that. So you could have all merchant class. I forgot about that meme. That's an old meme from my channel. I'm a merchant. I'm going heading up to the merch level. But what really happened? But there was no upwards mobility. That was the thing. So whatever class you were born into, that was the class. If your father was a blacksmith, you will be a blacksmith, or basically you're condemning yourself to poverty, basically. So what happened is we had Napoleon Bonaparte essentially start causing all kinds of, even though he became a monarch himself, he was because he was, even though he was a lower nobility member in the French courts, he was allowed to essentially become a significant good leader in the military, and because of his wins, he ended up leading a large part of the French army and just kept taking W's until eventually he just like conquered everybody else. And because he started conquering everybody else, because he was held back because of his status, he was a lesser nobleman. He decided he wanted to promote people through meritocracy, and this.
Yeah, the French ruling class. Hell no, bro. I ain't up for that. Like, right. You're gonna have to work again. We have to actually provide value. No.
No. So it was he ended up just completely I mean, dude, if you actually look at the history, like I know the reason why, like Napoleon, everyone knows about Napoleon Bonaparte, but or King Napoleon. There's a reason my picture is that thing of me holding the staff like this with my head. That's Napoleon Bonaparte's
Love
body,
it.
basically. It's amazing, right? The guy was actually not short at all. That's just propaganda, just to make him seem like he was just some short guy or something. No, he was basically average height for people at the time and stuff. He wasn't a short guy, but they make him look short because obviously he disrupted this entire system. And this is like, without Napoleon Bonaparte, we probably wouldn't even have like what America is today as well. You know,
Yeah,
because
whole world history would be different.
Yeah, completely. And this guy basically mollywopped and just. If you look into the history of Napoleon Bonaparte, he completely destroyed everyone in Europe. I mean, just L's after L. Like he's just nothing but W's. Like he just completely destroyed these guys. But what basically happened is, by him, it was sort of like when like Mongol when you had Genghis Khan would come into an area, destroy it, but then he would allow you to assimilate into the culture, but he would not go after you because of religion. He will let you practice any religion. So they're under his rule. Like, right,
they knew if they were going to try to tackle a religion, like it wouldn't end well.
Right. It would not end well at all. So this whole thing of just pushing meritocracy he ended up pushing a lot of these. Like, he's like, all right, you guys can have your votes and stuff. You guys could start this whole thing about democracy, but I'm still king. But like he ended up pushing these kind of governments that ended up pushing more about meritocracy, and just changing that meritocracy part. It structured things like almost like a business, almost in a way, where like you work your way up, you can get promoted in the company. So you started seeing people would work really hard, the actual cream of the crop start rising up, and actually this is what pretty much started all the kind of falls of kings and queens in Europe for the most part. And this is what led to a lot of stuff. So because of that, just to go back to the original point, because of that happening, this is one of the reasons why it kind of led to how the United States is right now. We're the freest nation in the world, and the American dream. You can work real hard and you can ascend and you can become a person of means and stuff, which is still possible. It's just harder to do it. But you have to do it by unconventional means, which is like crypto, outsider, red pill content. You can't do it the traditional ways are almost blocked off completely. You have to go alternate ways to essentially ascend the citadel, right? And what they're doing now is they're trying to get us to sell our assets away. So right now, about 30% of private companies in the United States own 30% of all of the real estate in single-family homes in the United States.
It's a lot.
Now they're making the numbers smaller. They're saying BlackRock wants to own this much and this much. Sure, BlackRock is a single company. They're the largest, right? So people think that the number is like BlackRock. I mean, BlackRock only owns this much. So a lot of articles actually post that like, oh no, corporate America really only controls about this much. It's really only 5% of single family homes. No, that's just BlackRock. If you actually look at all of them in all the rest of them, what they're trying to do is basically you'll have nothing and be happy. What they're trying to do is have us own no homes, use us as an income class in order to, because we're just renters. Yep. And that rent income is pretty much what's going to, they're essentially, they pimped it. So, okay. This is what makes me so angry. You guys got to join the crypto mindset course, you guys. I'm going to get you, we're the red pill of finance, and we're going to fucking make you guys based.
Yo, what to add to this point, one of the first questions in the Q3 chat was just like, how long are you guys going to keep doing this? Like, and all this stuff. And I'm like, bros, like we're out here to, make sure that everybody has that success and everybody has that chance to get to the Citadel. We ain't stop until at least 2030, so I think, just over the next, 8 years, basically over the rest of this decade, looking at those alternative means for streams of income, looking at the digital age, to ways to take advantage of income streams on the internet, in addition to crypto, right? And stuff like this, this is the stuff that we talk about because, yeah, it's a really good point, that essentially our generation and, the Generation Z and everybody after us, essentially, we're on a back foot when we get out of, when we become adults and get out of college, essentially, because, all of the way the world is situated, and specifically in the United States, right, is basically still in the phase of what's happening back in like 1970, or 1960, 1980, we haven't really updated since then. And so crypto's kind of like force updating. It's kind of like, okay, we need a hard reboot. And during this hard reboot, right, we're going to have the IMF, the WEF, the BIS, all of these organizations try to basically take over, right, to some extent, and do that you'll own nothing and be happy bit. But, if you are awake, this isn't a conspiracy theory, it's just their agenda, right? And if you are awake to that and you understand it, you can use these alternatives, and one of which is cryptocurrency specifically, to basically, get ahead. And, that with high volatility comes high risk, of course. But once you get used to the volatility in crypto, which takes some time, takes some experience for sure. But once you get used to that volatility, right, that's where you really start to have a lot of success, in my opinion.
No, definitely. And we ain't going nowhere. I'm saying,
bearable, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be here for the long term, you guys. We're gonna see this through to the end, and we always joke around and say we're gonna be at least here for a decade. Shit, it might be more, man. It might be more. Like this.
I fucking have a great time doing these streams. Like when we do these streams over, the 5-day period, like it's just fun, right? It's fun to go out and meet everybody. It's fun to talk about these things. Fun to help everybody out that has, legitimate questions. It's great to do the course. Like, I forget what the quote is, but they say it's like, I think it was like, who was it? It was like a couple guys, famous guys. It was like, I can't remember, but they were basically saying like, I haven't worked a day in my life because I enjoy what I do. Oh, you're muted, bro.
That was such a good. I was so quick on that one too, man. Oh man, classic. This is gonna be us 30 years later and show with gray hairs in our heads. Like, damn it, I'm muted again.
Millennial moment. No.
Millennial moment. Oh my god, that's gonna be so horrible one day when millennials are the boomers. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like just hopefully, we're gonna be remembered. Like the millennials are gonna be the golden boys, the good old boys and shit, man. Like we ain't gonna be like a lot of what's going on in the world right now. Like obviously the world's always been fucked, of course, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's always something going on.
Right, but I mean, statistically, we had a pretty rough, like the boomers are a pretty rough generation to have been raised under for the most part and stuff like that. So, but I guess just to go back,
there's positives to it, right?
Yeah,
a lot of positives, I think, but like in terms of like financial literacy, wasn't quite
I'm more talking about the financial elite of the boomer, because like the average. I mean, dude, my father's a baby boomer and stuff. Like my father's a baby boomer and stuff. My mom's an Xer, but shout out to my dad. Yeah, see, I'll say something personal to you guys because obviously I trust you guys and it's just us by ourselves, so you can keep a secret. But like, yeah, my mom had me really young. That's all I'm gonna say. But all jokes aside and stuff. I mean, what I'm kind of the Great Reset or whatever they're calling it, and this whole thing, you'll own nothing and you be happy about it. What they're slowly doing. Okay, because so remember, it takes a long time to structurally move things over time, right? So you had this giant thing, Napoleon Bonaparte, just shit, and bring meritocracy into Europe. That reverberated, brought democracy over time, not initially, but over time. This brought about, just around the time of the Enlightenment and stuff. This was time when like coffee really got brewing, all puns intended.
I got mine here just in case.
Yes, some Celsius, right? But and that reverberated, and then that ended up really affecting a lot of, like, I would say, the cafe bars inside of Europe and stuff, and then which where a lot of these kind of crazy kind of things started happening, and then that ended up in a way causing kind of cause and effect, and sort of like how the normal people in the UK were feeling and stuff, and then those people came over here along with other people from Europe, and then that ended up starting America for the most part, right? And so it's kind of it's a long-term cause and effect. It's kind of crazy, like, how did Napoleon Bonaparte make America in a way, right? Because it's the slightest, it's like the I would call it like, yeah, it's a butterfly. Damn, literally, I was about to say that. Wow. Yeah, it's the butterfly. It's the butterfly effect. Just a slight move over here ends up changing the future dramatically over time. Maybe if he didn't happen, like America still would have happened, but it wouldn't have been as in the way it would have been affected as of now, basically, because this little subtle change here, or pretty large change here, really changed everything on this side. So, but what they're trying to do is they're doing the same thing. Is what they're doing is trying to take us back. So what's going on is the ruling class around the world, they're mad that we're not serfs that can't have upwards mobility, because the upwards mobility part fucks them up because they're unproductive. Capitalism is bad for them because the productive. So if all things are leveled, right, and they can't use government intervention and things to put themselves in positions of power, the productive people of society will always rise. The cream always rises to the top.
Yep.
So it ends up making them really bad. So what ended up happening
when
is
those people like Jeff Bezos, right? Yeah. They start getting close to the government. They start buying assets related to the government, right? They start wiggling their way into, you know, power positions and stuff like that. All of a sudden the bureaucracy is owned, right?
Right. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that point. But
no. And you're completely right about that. And it's an entire sort of thing where, like, even though they always try to control it, what ended up happening over time is a lot of the royalty in Europe lost their wealth. Some of them adapted.
Great opportunity for the people who took advantage of it.
Right. But so there's always a power. There's always like, you know, war never changes, right? That'll mean. But there's another thing is like a power vacuum, right? Whoever's the focal point, like it's the suction there. When that breaks, expands back in something or some sort of union. Even if it's one guy who's in control, and then it could be three guys, and then they make a triumvirate, and then they control it now. And then that's the new structure. The structure always has to have something to kind of hold it back together, or you get immense chaos. Hence what happened in Chicago, basically. They took out the main guy controlling all of Chicago in the 90s, and then they've had like they have more deaths happen there than Iraq. Even now. Like it's crazy. So like you have to be very careful when you take someone out of power, because if you don't have if they can say that I'm a good plan, if they don't have a good plan to put that power structure back in place, then you can cause complete chaos, and then you can get even a worse situation. This is the same thing that, like, this was said years later after Saddam Hussein was taken out of the Middle East, out of Iraq. Well, Saddam Hussein was a horrible, sadistic person that did terrible things and stuff like that. There's a good movie on him too that's called like the devil's brother, twin brother, basically. It's about Saddam Hussein's son, his body double, and it's a true story and stuff about all the crazy stuff that's happened. But basically, Saddam Hussein, regardless or not, like did a lot of horrible things, but kept the crazy sort of like, you know, like those crazy groups within Iraq in control, because he was that sadistic but he kept the country like. It's a really messed up sort of thing where, like, it's like he's such a devil that he kept the other worser devils in bay, but he was still a horrible, terrible person and stuff like that. Like Al Qaeda and all these other sort of like bad sort of segments of like Iraq crushed them probably through just murdering them and scaring them and stuff like that, and
terrorize the terrorists essentially.
Yeah, right. But now when you took him out, the power vacuum, who took over? The segments that he was controlling, keeping them down. So it's so that just so I'm making a huge tapestry here and a huge story just to tell you that basically what they're doing right now is they're slowly over this next 100 years, they're trying to make us they're trying to make the world again like it was in Europe, which is the kings and queens, they have control of their powers and stuff, the dominions, they have dukes and earls and all that jazz. It's going to be new words, whatever it is. Maybe it's billionaire or trillionaires that run the world, and then from there's no upwards mobility at all. So so the reason I'm telling you guys this is, for anyone who hasn't joined the crypto mindset course yet, join up the crypto mindset course, take the red pill of finance, get free, and we're not going to, like, we can't save the whole system, but we're going to be able to save the most amount of men as we possibly can, and hopefully the butterfly effect that we cause now will be able to change everything for the future.
Yep, 110%.
Beautiful times.
Yeah, and you know, it's not a journey cut out for everybody, right? There's some people, and like, it's been like frustrating a little bit to watch, you know, when there's people who don't want to be their own bank, you know, the responsibility, in order to, break away, and also, be a person of the world, not necessarily a person of a nation, right? Because that's basically where things are going. A lot of people have a hard time with they say they want to be self-sovereign, right? But the actual implementation of it, they have a hard time with it. So the course, it's fun as hell, like we have a great time. We talk about some pretty cool stuff. And I think, the learning along with it is just, to me, is invaluable for, the long term, as far as I see it. So it's for the people who do have, the success, the people who are willing to take on that responsibility, the people who, basically, have their private keys, have the cold storage, all that stuff, like, and the people who also like, pay attention to the risk management webinar, the people who, basically roll profits from each course to purchase the next course, stuff like that. It's all those little things put together, and that's why we do the 20 webinars, essentially, is so that we can give you guys as much of that information as possible. But the other thing is like, we're literally, in the early stage of that S curve in terms of technology adoption, in terms of, it's an asymmetrical bet, but it's also just, the growth phase of a new technology like this just is insane. I think in terms of like the days of the internet, we're still like comparatively, crypto's outpacing the early days of the internet, but we're still in like, if we're going to look at it as, just dates of the internet, we're like in 1993, just like the early stage. And
we haven't hit the viral moment yet.
Right.
We don't have that when Windows 95, 96, whatever year that one came out, or 98, like that real user product market fit where everyone was like, holy crap, and they all got on. We still haven't gotten that. We haven't had the Netscape moment yet, really.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go into a couple of super chats, and then from there, I guess we'll just go over the Bitcoin chart a little bit and stuff like that. But Drape Topman, shout out to this man. I'm hoping good old muggy Miami was fun. Thanks to the hedron suggestion, short-term investment walked away with 5 times on my capital. That's 5x more dry powder. Heck yeah, man. Yes, sir. Drape Topman is a G. All right, let's keep going down. Oh, another one, Drape Topman, $10. What's your view on being a validator or a Lido finance staking ETH? Got it. Obviously, there is going to be some technical requirements in order to stake the 32 Ethereum once the merge happens, but we'll end up having a tutorial on how to do it basically at that point and stuff once that is, because it's going to be a major part of our investments, right? Is a stake in our Ethereum. I am going to use sort of a mixture between Lido, Rocket Pool, and being a validator, just kind of as a way to decentralize it a little bit and kind of maximize my yield. But I do like Lido. I think Lido is going to do pretty well. Rocket Pool is going to be another service that's going to be pretty well as well. But the validator is probably going to be the safest option, but you have to do work, right? And then you don't want to get slashed as well, because it can by you fucking up as a validator could end up giving you penalties where you kind of erase the gains you make on the yield, which sucks. So yeah, that's one there. When do I sleep? I have not slept much.
Yeah, we're on limited sleep schedules.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you guys a little bit of what I did last night and stuff, but I just want to get through all the super chats. But it's pretty wild, you guys. Pretty wild. Damn, I don't know how Fresh stays alive, man. Jesus. Yeah.
Through sheer will.
All right. Crypto Boogie with the $5 super chat. Dollar cost crypto. Your intro makes me want to do 20 pull-ups in 18 18-minute 3-mile run and 100 crunches under a minute. Beautiful, man. Go ahead, dude. McDonald's coffee man for the win. This guy's a McDonald's coffee maxi. If you guys don't know.
I thought it was Hex Coffee Maxi.
Oh yeah, Hex Coffee Maxi from McDonald's. MVPDs, baby. Let's keep going down. Any more super chats? Okay, Crypto Boogie with another $5 super chat. BlackRock's going to have to drag me out of the Hex Citadel. Well, sir, they're going to fail.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to, which is the best part about it.
Yeah. Let's see. Giant Leprechaun, 57 likes, 110 in the chat. You can do better than that. Charlie and Miguel are giving you life-changing information, and you can help them by pushing the like button. That's right. Hit the like button right now, you guys. Change some lives. Share this out on Twitter. Put this in Telegram chats. I mean, seriously, like, we are the red pill of finance, me and Charlie, and we are trying to change the world and the way you think about money. And regardless of not, money is energy. the more energy you have, the more you can end up doing to kind of change your future. So definitely please share it out. Let's keep, man, there's some great comments, but I got to go to the super chats. Oh,
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in the chat today. I was like,
I know, I saw art right here and I had to do it. Like CMC Q4 2020 changed my life. Every quarter that followed, I kept the momentum going in and I haven't looked back since. Thank you, fellas. Hey, shout out to you, man. This guy right here, like, I don't want to put too much information out here, but this guy it's very sick at one point, was still showing up to webinars, still watching videos with all the crazy stuff going on in his life. So, man, art is always going to be
mad respect.
Mad respect for you, man. Let's see. Okay. Jerry with a $20 super chat. Can we have a look at Bitcoin? Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Let me just get through the rest of the comments real quick. Another $2 super chat from Crypto Boogie. I second Jerry Oak Smith with a Bitcoin request. Love it. If we get $50, will Charlie do it? Sure. Why not?
The answer is no. No, of course we will.
He's our highest paid worker.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Reporting for duty. That's beautiful, man. Okay, cool. We've caught up. Beautiful, man. So I guess like 30 minutes in, let's talk a little bit about some of the crypto prices and stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll jump on that real quick here. And just, as we're doing that, going into infinity and beyond, make sure to come over here to the crypto mindset course, cultivatecrypto.com/shop. And you can jump on the crypto mindset course here, just one-time fee of $9.97. You can pay with GPay on Google. You can pay with PayPal. You can pay basically by credit card if you add to cart. If you want to pay by cryptocurrency, you do get a 15% discount for the total price at that point will be $851.45. You can pay in Bitcoin or Ethereum. And all you need to do is just press this Coinbase commerce link. This will pop up here. And essentially, you just put in these fields here so that we can contact you and get you into the Telegram group. And then once you do that, a QR code will pop up, and then you'll be able to choose, what cryptocurrency you want to pay in, and then scan the QR code with your app or whatever you're using to basically send that crypto, and you get that 15% discount, and all is well. So, you can dump the dirty fiat on us or dump your crypto on us as we're going into this dip. So looking at Bitcoin, I'll keep it short and sweet and simple here today, but we do have a sell signal on the CC algo, which just means, we're basically coming down to support areas right now. And we have the 50-day moving average here, and Bitcoin is just, basically, just going across that level, both to the upside and the downside, just kind of straddling that area for right now. If you do look at like the short term in terms of this up move, not only do we have the sell signal, but we also broke that short-term trend line, right? So that just confirms essentially the downwards momentum right there. Going into the Fed meeting, which will be on the 26th and 27th of this month. So if we just put a little box there, it's coming up very, very soon, right? Just this area of time here, 26th, 27th, 28th, that's when you want to be paying attention to the markets, because basically right now we're coming down into that, right? And I think we'll bounce around for a bit, but it'll be really interesting to see, just kind of how markets react to, the increase of the interest rates. And essentially, there's a few levels that you want to pay attention to. Of course, we would like Bitcoin to hold, if we're going to basically get a pump after the Fed meeting or going into early August, we would need this area of about 21,700. That would be the best area to hold, because it would be high enough that it's not going to test the critical areas. That being said, I do think we'll probably go lower than that. And basically the critical support area is essentially this 20,500 right down here. That area is critical to hold. If we basically go below 21 or 20,500 going into the Fed meeting or a little bit after, then it's likely that we break down further. And that just means that if we go here and test this 19K area, that likely breaks, and then we likely come into a cycle low that is lower, basically, or maybe matching or a little bit higher, right? Maybe like 18K or something like that. So I would say, like, if we were to break down into the Fed meeting and then continue that breakdown because we're not holding these support areas, basically I would be looking at 15,500 to 18,000. That would be like the wide range, essentially.
That's a sweet buying area, because that pushes all the prices down for the rest of cryptos as well. Because usually,
yes,
if Bitcoin, let's just say Bitcoin does do that 15% drop, 20% drop from where we're at, right, from the top, basically on top of the candle there. Wow, like that means the alts bleed more. So it could be, if we, let's just say we did get like a 20-15%, let's just say 20% drop on BTC over like an extended period of time, whether the next month or so or the next couple of weeks after the Fed meeting, then you could probably get a 30% drop in altcoins. Because they'll bleed a little bit. They'll bleed much. The really bad ones will bleed really badly. Ethereum would probably just be slightly worse than Bitcoin, and then, damn, that's such an opportunity. Wow, man.
Oh, it's fantastic. So that would be the easiest buy opportunity, essentially, because we would get, in that case, in terms of like the 60-day cycles, right, we would have an extended cycle, because right currently we would be on day 73 of the 60-day cycle, and we'd probably extend to something like 80 days or so. We haven't seen really too many cycles beyond 80 days. Like we've seen, like, I think 82, 83 here or there. But generally it's around that 80-day mark. So if it's going to happen, it's got to happen soon, essentially, for that breakdown. So the 26th, 27th, 28th, really important time to be paying attention to the market. Personally, I do think these levels have a strong potential to hold. And so if that is the case, then essentially the last 60-day cycle, right, if that is the local low until, just for like basically the early part of Q3 going into like end of August, essentially, then in that case, we would be currently in a new 60-day cycle. And the beauty of that already would be we have a current high on day 32. Now, that doesn't mean we're guaranteed to exceed that high if we hold these levels, but it basically says we probably have an 80% chance plus of, basically coming back and Bitcoin going past 25K, and probably coming up towards this resistance area here of, 27, 28K or so. So if that happens, then essentially from the 26th, 27th, 28th, that would be around day 40 of the 60-day cycle. That would give us 5 to 15 days, because we usually have the high of the 60-day cycle somewhere around day 45, which would be on August 2nd, to about day 55, which would be August 12th, right? So we would, if in that case, we would see something like, where is that? Got to get the crayons out. It would be something like this, where we maybe come down into this area, kind of chop around a bit. It holds, right? And then we make a new high. It doesn't have to be like a lot higher. It could just be slightly higher. Like it could be like 25K, 26K, could even go up as high as like 28K. Let's just say it's like slightly higher, right? Kind of gets resistance at this previous 60-day cycle. Then the real test, right, will be that mid-August point, right? And then once we test this area again, right, if we do kind of bounce off that for a new 60-day cycle, but we don't exceed this area and this area becomes strong resistance, then going into September, that could be the area, where you make new lows. And if the macro environment, continues to be, hawkish and everything, then essentially we go down and bear resumes. So, this play right here, I think, you can drum up some good cash, and that's good. This play here, also this downside is just pure speculation, right? Because we have the Fed meeting in September on the 19th. Mt. Gox is also selling off some coins. So this would be pure speculation. But right, until we really see strong momentum to the upside, like getting back above 28, 30K, we don't have any momentum to the upside, like significantly, right? So these types of things are basically, bounces, but, that if you are comfortable playing, with a small portion of your portfolio, doing some swings and, drumming up some extra cash, essentially, basically that, buying that holding of support on, of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe the main coins that you're confident in, holding long term, because if we do break down, you want to be able to hold those if any unexpected events. But if we get that, you get a nice, let's say, you just look at percentages here, something like 20% increase to as high as like a 30% increase on Bitcoin, which would be like a 40 or 40+% increase on Ethereum, and then on some alts, it'd be maybe significantly more. That'll help you drum up some extra cash to basically buy any future dips that we might have going into the end of 2022 a lot more strongly. And we also have.
What has Charlie been saying this whole time? Swing trade summer?
Yeah, bro. Swing trade summer. It's where it's at. But make sure to do it with only a small portion of your portfolio. I think there's a lot of people who, they're like, I'll just, trade the entire portfolio. We tell you guys in the crypto mindset course that is a terrible idea. So anytime you do these, swings to AKA cultivate more crypto, then it will allow you to also dollar cost crypto into the dips, better. So but the last thing I was going to say here is, this is pure speculation. Basically, we could also basically have this scenario here where we come down, we test these levels again, and we come up and we actually beat this high. And, then we have some upwards movement, but then, maybe that in September, we come down here again and we kind of chop sideways. I think it's going to take a while, for Bitcoin to get, solidly back above the 30K area. So, this type of movement here, whether it's a new low or we just maintain this as the low and just kind of chop and we get these swings, essentially that is just accumulation area. So you'll see a lot of whales and stuff accumulating Bitcoin there. And basically Ethereum's no different. You look at Ethereum and literally if I turn on the algo service, you get virtually the same sell signal. Trend line is the same. Support levels are very similar here on Ethereum. So yeah, for Ethereum, you probably want to see it hold above, I would say 12, this area here. I'd put it a little higher actually for Ethereum because you have the 50-day moving average as well as the top of this area here at about 1,250. And the 50-day moving average right now is at about 1,300. So that area is the area, that you'd want Ethereum to hold. And the one thing we have noticed is Ethereum has moved ahead of Bitcoin by about half a day to a day during some of these moves. So it is possible if we do see Ethereum start breaking down below this 1,250 level before Bitcoin starts, breaking below these levels. Doesn't mean that we're going to definitely break below those levels, but it does kind of give you a little bit of an extra hint. And then if you take a look at the charts and you're like, oh, yep, I see a few other things that basically are basically confluence with that and shows that we're going to dip even harder, then, it might give you just a little bit more forewarning before, the strong red candles come in.
Right, definitely. And if you guys look in the crypto mindset course, you guys, we're going to give you guys lists and coins and kind of like target prices. Obviously, we are always going to tell you to DCA earlier than the target prices because trying to be a sniper is bad. You got to play numbers game here. The numbers game is buying multiple target points. Hence, dollar cost crypto, dollar cost averaging into a position. But the thing is, we want to miss most of the price point, right? So all-time high. Now we're down 80% on some coins, 90 on some, 5% of some coins. So if you don't have a certain coin that you like, you can start dollar cost averaging into it. But then if we get these bloody days that we were thinking we're going to end up getting, that's where you go heavier, basically. But you do have to start building up some positions. But right now, currently me and Charlie are really only accumulating right now BTC, Ethereum, and Hex really as positions right now. Other coins are on the list right now, and we're pretty much waiting to see what's going to happen with the Fed meeting as well as the Mt. Gox coins dumping as well before we start playing and putting down the serious capital. We have the dry powder down in the market and stuff. So there is a rhyme and reason to why we have the course coming out when it is. For any of you guys who saw us on Fresh and Fit, Myron said it himself, so these guys are launching the course on the 22nd to end it on the 26th because on the 26th is what? The federal funds meeting. There's a rhyme to reason to why we have the course starting on August 6th. I wonder why. Charlie Miguel was just randomly dropping the course, like making the course on those days. I wonder why. Yeah, so it's gonna end up being kind of it's gonna be a really cool sort of thing, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think the major benefit, of the webinars, starting at that time, right, is just the market will be, much more clear,
yeah,
right after that Fed meeting going into when we start the webinars. Um, and we have a little extra time between, when the sales period and enrollment ends on the 26th at midnight Pacific Standard. Link in the chat for anybody who wants to join the course. But we have that gap between the 26th and the 6th of August. And during that time, we'll be active in the chats with you guys in the Telegram chat. There's already over 200 people who've joined the Crypto Mindset course just in the first day and a half, which is really, really good to see. And everybody's already chatting in there. And we're going to basically be in there giving you guys a lot of information, as it happens after the Fed meeting as well. And the cool thing about Telegram, right, is there's also like the audio room that we can set up where essentially we get like, people who are available at that time, right? We get like in a room, we have an audio discussion, right? And basically that's the only thing that we don't record in the course, essentially, at least so far. We can maybe figure out a way to do that. But generally speaking, some of those, we can basically do before the course starts. And then, when the course starts, we'll get you guys going real good. But yeah, I think there were some questions earlier in the chat, like, is the course recorded? Everything with the live webinars is absolutely recorded. We do have an unrecorded section where you guys can like open up and ask, your DGen questions and everything. But basically, everything for the information in the course is all recorded. A lot of questions from the audience as well are recorded. So that, because usually like, a lot of people have similar questions. And so that usually gets your questions all answered. And like, we just do it all for you guys. So it's going to be a good time.
right. And this is one interesting question. Hex already did a 10,000x, right? Well, why can't I do 100,000x?
Yeah, well, Pulse Chain too, baby.
Leave that there. I just leave that there. That's it.
There we go.
There's a lot of X's and stuff, but let's see. Get used to those 3 coins in one sentence: BTC, Ethereum, Hex. That's right. I mean, shit. Yeah, definitely.
Add Pulse Chain to that one too.
Yeah, screenshot this. Remind me 2 years from now. But let's see some questions real quick. Oh, there's so I answered it early before, but I'll answer it again just because this is an important question. Okay, so Leroy, no Jenkins, right? Do you guys think that Kraken's still a good place to yield on DOT, or should I move it to something safer like Exodus? So I do think Kraken's still a really safe place to yield on it, but I just wouldn't have all my eggs in one basket. So I mean, personally, I would use something like Kraken and then use something like a Fearless wallet or Exodus wallet as well. You can earn yield like decentralized. Obviously, if a smaller stack, I understand if you have it in one centralized place a little bit, but like I have it under your control for the most part. Exodus, you do control your own keys as well as like Fearless wallet. You then, once your stack gets big enough, maybe you decide, I'll put a 1,000 DOT here, 1,000 DOT there, 1,000 DOT there. That way you're getting the good average yield, and then you're not wasting so much time managing it. Basically, that's the way I would play it. But personally, I primarily only use Fearless for my wallets for DOT and Kusama.
Yeah, and if anything bad happens, like the exchange goes down, right? Not your keys, not your coins, then you have plenty of coins elsewhere, so you don't have a central point of failure.
Right. So Sandy B has a good point right here. Mt. Gox just got time locked Bitcoin. so basically, like Sandy's right here when it comes to like basically the people in Mt. Gox basically time locked their BTC and are getting some of their Bitcoin back. But this is the power of kind of hodling over a long period of time. I assure you, 90% of these people now, I would say 95% of these people would not have the same amount of Bitcoin that they had back in the day now. So for someone that had like, I had 1,000 Bitcoin on Mt. Gox, they would probably be lucky to have 40 BTC today if they're still in the market. So a lot of these people, like their Bitcoin was pretty much purchased at like $100, $50 in that range, $25, and are pretty much going to sell it at right now in so many multiples than they probably would have ever held to, because they probably would have been some of the first people to dump at $500 or $1,000 Bitcoin, and probably dumped all their BTC again at like anywhere from like $5,000 to $15,000. if they end up taking profits on that Bitcoin. So this whole thing, we're like, this is to show you guys the power of time locking, as well as, you know, if you're hodling over, but I take it as a lesson, like if you hodl over the long-term good assets that survive and are making the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the Hexes, you know, possibly the, you know, some other projects in the future, right? If they make it, you can really make life-changing money. And this is the power of crypto. Yeah.
Yeah. And just one other question in chat from Josh. He said, for the people who've paid for the course, do we start receiving the links after the sale of the course ends? No, you receive the link to join the Telegram chat within 24 hours after joining the course. If you haven't received the email, the first thing you should do is double check your spam or promotions folder. Sometimes the email gets basically filtered out into there. I would say usually about 95% of cases, that's the case. If for whatever reason within the first 24 hours after you've checked those areas as well, you absolutely can't find the email from us, it should be from either Charlie at cultivatecrypto.com or support at cultivatecrypto.com. These are the two official emails. So if you don't have that, then do send us an email, and I'll put that in the chat as well. Right. Support at cultivatecrypto.com. You can jump on there. We also do on the web page where we sell the course at the very, very bottom in the frequently asked questions. If you do need a phone number to talk to somebody, there's a United States phone number there as well for you guys to call if you need more assistance than that. So we got you guys. Everything is taken care of.
Yeah. And yeah, we're going to make sure that we're going to do future voice chats for the groups and stuff, and for the Crypto Mindset Q3. And this is going to be a big way that we're going to communicate with people, as well as a lot of flash webinars. So if we're like me and Charlie, like, dude, we think the bottom's in, bro, that flash webinar is coming. Like,
and like,
guys, it's happening.
Yep. And there might be a few with like that, which are like at a moment's notice, but we'll basically as many of them as possible, right? In terms of the flash webinars, they're always, you know, a few days in advance. We give you guys that information. But like in terms of the voice chats, like, you know, basically I would say, you know, we'll try to basically give you guys as much forewarning as possible, but some of them, right, are just like, shit, something's happened in the market, we got to jump on it. Or like our schedules changed and we're available for a time and we just want to spend time with you guys and see what's up and help you guys out. So, you know, there's different rhymes to the reason.
There you go. Screenshot. Yeah, it's $5. I'm telling you, man, it's possible this time around. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's possible. $5.56 is possible for Hex, for sure. But obviously, the reason that I don't say something crazier, right? Like, you can go to $25, which maybe you can, is just it takes more capital and more money, and then there's downward selling pressure and time. It takes, and there's like, imagine if you're the lucky few in here who bought. Okay, fuck it, let's have some fun. Let's have a little fun right now.
I think I know where you're going with this Imagine story in it, and I think we can. I'll add something onto it. Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm caveat that. I'm just telling you, like, now this is like what this is basically moon math here. So obviously, be careful. Like, I'm just telling you, but like, let's just say, all right, so there's a Hex right here. Some guy who just like, let's say I'm gonna buy $1,000 of Hex today, right? We're buying it at 4 cents. They got $24,000. I mean, 24,000 Hex for $1,000 basically. Okay. Now let's just say that the price. Let's see, one day the price can actually be $5.55, right? So $5.56 times 24,035 Hex would pretty much mean that you would have that $1,000 now became about $133,634. Obviously, that's amazing. I mean, and that would be like victory, you guys. I'd be like, we're out here, you guys. We're making money, and this happened to a lot of people in Hex and for a lot of other cryptocurrencies. But it takes time, as well as we may not get that $5.55. We may only get $2, $1 and some change, because of the fundamentals changing of like, because more tokens means buying pressure is now kind of split in a way, and we may not get. It's
kind of a similar move to Cardano. Like what it made in the last run.
Yeah, because it's what ended up happening with the Cardano situation too, is like you kind of only had one place to funnel cash, which is ADA. When it actually has this whole ecosystem up and running, it can still do these crazy pumps, but more money is going to be pulled in other coins within the ecosystem. So it's the law of big numbers. Even though like Richard talks about the liquidity pools, over time the liquidity pools, like Hex is always going to have a smaller liquidity pool than the average coin of its size, on purpose, in order to cause like price volatility, so you can have big up and big down. But the bigger and bigger the community gets, and there's more people, that average liquidity pool is going to get larger. So it does take even for Hex over time, it's going to take more capital to pump it to those crazy levels. But then it can maintain these prices as well. So maybe we do get to a $2-3 price, and then Hex bottoms out at like 45 cents, and we're like, fuck, we're so wrecked right now. Oh my God, 45 cents when it's at 4.1 cents and you're sitting on a 10x over time. So that's kind of like DCC spin like little baby right now. But yeah, that's not outlandish, because but the thing is I do have to think is like this can it's not a 0% chance that this can happen, but at the same time, you can't count on like, Miguel, we're gonna get that $5, bro. I'm only selling it $5, $5 or bust, $5 or bust, and that's you get into big trouble, right? So we have to always move how everything is moving, right? So if just fundamentally something just happens with the Hex because of the whole added ecosystem, there's now 6 coins plus the rest of the ecosystem, money might start pooling more in other coins at certain points of time, and then the money doesn't pool as much into Hex as it does in the future. We don't know how it's going to work out, but me and Charlie will always be the first people to tell you that we're starting to see this pattern now, that like, damn, the pumps on Hex might be smaller now, but more sustained. So it might be like Hex pumps to 20 cents. I mean, as an example, sorry, let's just say like Hex pumps to 80 cents, and then its dip might only be 40 cents. So it might be, Hex could possibly almost like just do 50% corrections instead of 80% corrections, unless we have a big macro kind of like event where like everything goes down,
Yeah, and it is interesting when, Richard Hart and the Hex community show like, Hex's growth over time versus, the early days of Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Doesn't mean it's going to end up in the exact same scenario or not. But it's just something to kind of be like, okay, there's kind of like a little bit of a path in terms of like what has been blazed in crypto thus far. And the other part of the equation, right, is like, if you look at the early days of Hex until now, right, the gains have been substantial. And looking over at what's happening with Pulse Chain, Pulse X, right, and the main ecosystem coins there on Pulse Chain, right? I mean, Richard Hart stood by his word, right? Got that 10,000x for Hex, and he's saying it again, right? He says, I want to do a 10,000x for the Pulse, So if it takes longer because the ecosystem is more complex, basically, if it takes 4 years instead of 2 years, oh my God, that 10,000x, bro.
Yeah.
Just
let me tell you this.
Took like 4 full years, bro. Come on.
Yeah. But let me tell you this, right? Like those 4 full years goes by quick. I mean, like, I almost feel like it was only like 6 months ago we started the courses.
Yeah. And we're on number 9 now.
We're on number 9 now, dude. Like, we're gonna have a little celebration for number 10. 10-year anniversary, or 10 course anniversary or something like that. That's gonna be so cool. Can you imagine when we do 100 courses? Like the 100 course anniversary.
Dude. I have to calculate the dates on that. What is that going to be?
I'll be how old? What year is it? You know what? I'm gonna hit that for the 100-year, man. Didn't have to cut me off. My games are gonna be so big. Man, the games are gonna be crazy, man. Dude, we stay in this crypto game, man. Wife-changing money, bros. Wife-changing money. I mean, maybe multi-wife changing money. Like, and by what I mean by that is like a harem.
Yep. I mean, Dubai is, becoming a center for crypto.
Yeah. Though I do have my conspiracy theory about it, but like, hey, we'll in the crypto mindset course, I can be a lot more open to my theories and stuff. But I will say
we've
this
already
though,
seen a little bit of that play out in Portugal, but yeah,
right.
we can talk about it more in the
I,
webinars.
I will say this though is like, man, my theories have been pretty correct over time. It's like my macro theory, my big long-term macro theories have been pretty on point. And like me and Charlie were I'll say a little sauce, a little sauce here. Me and Charlie were reviewing some of our first courses in terms like our first videos and stuff like that. And our predictions were on point. I was like, wow, I didn't know. I knew I was smart, but Jesus. But Charlie said some numbers too, and like, dude, like a lot of the numbers we kind of said early on were on the money.
Yep. And yeah, it's like it's one of these things where it's like sometimes over time, right, what's happening in the broader crypto market kind of allows you to forget some of those things too, right? And
right.
so like, one thing that we've talked about on the back end, of course, but also that we're gonna be like very conscious of this is like during these downtimes, it is a little bit easier to kind of see where things are going and kind of have a very realistic view on it and stuff like that. So
right.
we're just gonna set some reminders for ourselves on those types of things going forward as well, just to be like, okay, there's sometimes, I really appreciate that all of our streams, are on the internet, basically forever. Because, sometimes it's like, okay, got to go back and see, what 2019, 2020, 2021, Charlie and Miguel are saying, because, there's some nice gems in there. And sometimes I am, like one thing that I think is important in crypto as well, and we'll probably talk about this more in the course, of course, is every single year, when you look back on the last year in crypto, essentially you should think like, oh man, I was stupid essentially a year ago, right? And I've gotten so much better, right? If you continue to progress so much in crypto that every single year you have that feeling where like, man, I'm way ahead of where I was at this point last year, and you're just continually learning in this space because like there's infinite stuff to learn pretty much with how this asset class is being built out. As long as you feel like that, going forward, you're on the right path. But if you get to a point to where you're like, oh, like I'm perfect, there's nothing to change, you're going to end up like 3 hours capital, and doing some stupid shit and blowing up. So,
and they were the giga brains of crypto, legitimately. Like people like, all right, I need people need to put respect.
Giga manipulators of pumping price.
Oh,
of
course. But they went down like fucking like bulls. Like if you're gonna go down one way, I mean, shit, super cycle by dude. I got nothing but respect for that shit. I mean, they people for the longest time thought that they were just kind of like joking around or just using people's extra liquidity for stuff. No, they 100% believed super cycle, 1,000%. They like it was kind of like it was them and like Michael Saylor that reflated the entire thing. I mean, originally when Richard said that it topped out in the middle of it was in May, in May and stuff when they topped out, he was actually pretty taken back that it would re-pumped again. Back past it and stuff, and that was mostly off of like the sort of thing. So you could have information, but at the same time, like if you have outside forces just start buying in more, then you could just have the charts completely mess up. Just like fundamentals, just the chart. Like you look at the fundamentals, but then the chart setups, and then I'm just like, what? Why didn't they do that? Well, the chart. It's kind of like both the
things
is the
change.
dog. Yeah, things change. It's the dog. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Right? It's all the Ouroboros. It's the same thing,
Yeah, and this is why we talk about kind of like the confluence of the areas, right? You have to have fundamental analysis, or like you should be competent enough to understand when people are talking in each area of crypto, fundamental, technical analysis, and on-chain data analysis, right? You should be able to understand each one, and then you're going to probably lean towards one area or the other because of basically your learning style. I think a lot of auditory people and people are often go towards like in terms of learning, go towards the fundamental side. A lot of visual people tend to and analytical people tend to go towards the technical side, and then people who really like to jump deep into data basically go into the on-chain data side. So there's something for everybody, but you should be at least competent in every area, and that will help you to essentially be like, yeah, what comes first, whatever. But like when you look at basically everything that's kind of working together, you can be like, when they all three match, like you're just like, oh, this basically gives me much more confidence in where I think things are going.
Definitely. So I'm going to answer one just because I'm very disgusted at this comment and I'm hurt that Yo Fasha DCC is at least 37. Oh, oof. God damn, bro. I know Miami's been rough on me, but Jesus. I will say this though, at Miami, I ate my first meal since I've been here earlier today when I was talking to Charlie in the morning. Like, I think every time that happens is just like I'm so on adrenaline just from flying and stuff and everything like that, and the change, and then you know, going out and like doing all these streams and stuff, that I forget to eat for about 2 days always, which is not good for you. Trust me, not great.
Probably not.
But shame on you. Anyway, no, but VJ and Windsor, shout out to my boy Charlie and Miguel are the dope boys of crypto. They got what you need to become rich as fuck. Yeah,
love it.
Heck yeah, man. Love it, man. That's right. Defend me. That's correct. But all jokes aside, though. But for like Swerve the Dip, shout out to Swerve the Dip. I'm saying it. Moon Gang is in the top 1% when it comes to knowledge about crypto in many aspects. Definitely, man. We're the red pill of finance, and definitely the Moon Gang is way up there. No, we're in the percent of the percent up there in terms of crypto knowledge, man. Most people are scared in crypto, and we're out here buying. I mean, but I want to shout out to GC with the $10 super chat. I heard all about you guys from over a year ago and always contemplated about buying your course. Finally going to take the plunge and buy your course tonight. Let's get it, mate. Fuck yeah, man. Welcome to the family, dude. Once you go Moon Gang, you never go back.
Yeah, that's 100% the case.
Beautiful, man. I mean, that's really nice. Yeah, and we're going to have all kinds of cool stuff in there, man. And for anyone who wants to join up right here, just use the link. I'll put it in the chat right now, and then I'm gonna fix the description box to after the stream is done in order to actually leave the link under the description box. So it will be in the description box below.
Yep. And one thing I do want to mention, I know there's somebody in the early part of the chat who is like, man, you know, I kind of have to stretch a bit to get into the crypto mindset course. For anybody who might like, just in terms of timing and stuff like this, like if you're just like, man, like my next paycheck's coming in at a certain time, or like, you know, whatever it is that you might need help with, like as long as you communicate with our support team, just go, you know, send an email to support@cultivatecrypto.com, explain your situation. Basically, we'll try to help you as much as possible in terms of being like, obviously you can't get into the Telegram chat until you've, you know, basically paid in full. But you know, we'll help you with that process as much as possible, because I know there's sometimes like, you know, kind of outlier situations. I just wanted to mention that because we want to make sure that we're helping as many people as Moon Gang as possible, and be a shame, you know, if somebody missed out on the course simply for, you know, something stupid, like there was like one day that, you know, they couldn't use like their card or something, you know. So
if you send an email to charlie@cultivatecrypto.com and stuff like that, and you explain the situation, we're going to help you guys out for sure. And I mean, I just recently got talking to a guy. He's like, Miguel, I don't get paid until the last day of the month. Well, the courses don't start until August 6th. So he'll get in perfectly on time. So I was like, hey bro, it's fine. Just leave us a message. And then around that time, then we'll let you in basically after you pay and everything like that. But so if you know, like, wow, I can't actually get in right now, then just leave us an email, and then with the situation, and then obviously we'll get back to all the emails and stuff. But always follow up as well. Hey, I can get in now. We'll let you in as long as there's that chain of like sort of you kind of hit us up beforehand.
Yeah, it's definitely not a charity case. You know, we'll you make sure you get to pay the whole thing before we get you in the Telegram, but we will help you out in your situation if it's reasonable. No, definitely. Yeah. And it's, you know, we've always been like that and stuff when it comes to getting people in and stuff like that, but we are pretty ruthless when it comes to like once we're not selling the course, it's done. We're not selling it anymore. So that's why, like, if we're kind of like, you freeze tagged us a little bit. So like you talked to us while the sales was going on. So, okay, we'll let you in. Yeah. If you try emailing us on the 27th or 28th and being like, hey, I have this issue, it's like, sorry, you know, like you have to be on it during that, the period when the enrollment is live. Yeah, you guys. And me and Charlie are barely like 22 years old each. So like, that from Wes is correct. No, personally, right now, I am devastatingly 30. I'm 31 years old. So there you go. Though I look 15. I can shave a few years off. Barely growing a beard. Barely growing a beard at 31 years old. Jesus, Lord Christ and stuff. But that's kind of crazy. I said that there's a video of me as a kid with my dad and stuff where I was telling him, he's like,
because my dad has like my family can grow these gangster mustaches, like Jesus, like these mega mustache Mexican. I'm talking about these huge mustaches. And my dad has like a really like a Chad beard and stuff like that. He has really good beard and everything like that. And I remember as a kid, he's like, when do you think like he asked me in Spanish, ¿Cuándo piensas que vas a tener una barba and stuff? And I was like, 33, 34. I was a kid. I don't know why I said that. And look at this magic, 31 still happening. Look at that. I'm timed it right again. But that's hilarious. But yeah. It's kind of funny, dude. I got to get some. One of these days, I'm gonna go to my mom's. I'm going to my parents' house and get all these home videos and stuff because I actually have these crazy videos of me as a kid and stuff saying like, "Dad, buy gold. We have to buy gold right now and stuff." And like at the newspaper and stuff because it was like I forgot it was like I think like $80 for an ounce of gold and stuff before he went on a run to over 1,000. So your boy is like historically from the crib, bro. Been out here in these markets. I'm just telling you, just no capital to play at the time, but yeah.
Hey, better than Peter Schiff. Already from that age.
Yo, that was weird, dude. I felt like a mini earthquake right now.
Really?
Yeah, dude. The lights went out over there.
Oh shit! Yeah, that built. Well, I mean, what time is it there? It's like 11 p.m., right? So maybe that's just when they shut the lights off in the building.
No, I felt the whole thing just shake right now. I was like, whoa.
Strange.
I must have been a little quake or something. Weird.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, right now we'll be heading over as well to the Rough Stuff TV on Twitch. So if you do want to continue watching us over on Twitch, we're going to be just sliding on over. So I'll throw that in the chat. I'll basically throw that in the chat for you guys as well, so you know where we'll be next.
Yeah. And for my next stream and stuff like that, I'll be telling you about the life and times of Miguel in Miami.
There we go.
Times of Richmond High, baby. I'm going to tell you a tell-all story of all the debauchery we got into, but there's some. It was
mixed in with crypto goodness, of course.
Of course. And this is a beautiful thing too, because I'm making connections right now with a lot of people in the industries and stuff like that, and we're going to be able to throw these kind of really cool network events and stuff like that. The next crypto mindset meetup that we end up doing, man, is going to be wild. I say, like,
oh, dude, it's going to be fun as fuck.
And then once they sell out, this next one, because we've now done it. We've got some of the infrastructure to be able to do these things now. This next one's we're going to completely sell out. So I mean, legitimately, if you're not in any of the new courses, you're not going to get in, basically. So definitely join in and stuff. It's a huge marketing event as well. I mean, in terms of like a networking, I'm saying not a networking event for all the guys too, because there's a lot of people, like not just friendships along the way, but a lot of people are starting to work on things now that are inside the Moon Gang and stuff like that, inside the crypto mindset courses and stuff. So I mean, tons of people found out like, oh, you have this skill, let's join Peanut Butter and Jelly and make a product or make something now. And people are starting to really like change their lives and stuff. So heck yeah, man. But with that, you guys, join the Crypto Mindset course Q3. I'll throw the link in the chat right now, and then me and Charlie are going to hop on the stream and play StarCraft.
Should be good. Crypto StarCraft, baby. Yeah.
Can you throw the link in the chat, Charlie?
I did, and I will again. I think that's a search for Rough Stuff TV. It's not the exact channel, but if you press that, I believe you'll be able to see the channel.
Beautiful. It's right here, you guys. So with that, you guys, peace, and catch you on the flip side.